All right, strap in, everyone, because today we are diving headfirst into some seriously weird territory.
Ooh, sounds like fun.
We're talking demons.
Ooh, okay.
Their supposed superpowers, and more specifically, their vision.
All right, I'm intrigued.
Our primary source this time is a lecture by a self-described demonologist named John Rasmus.
Demonologist.
Now, I know what you're thinking, but hear me out, okay?
Okay.
Because even if, like me, you're not totally sold on the whole demon thing, there are still some pretty fascinating ideas here.
I'm with you. It's always good to keep an open mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So Erasmus claims that demons have what he calls X-ray vision.
Okay.
Like they can see through walls, objects, even right through our bodies.
Sounds familiar.
Right.
Yeah. It's like a pretty classic, like, superhuman power. You see it everywhere in pop culture, from Superman to, like, the kids in that movie Tomorrowland. It seems like it taps into this human desire to see beyond the surface, you know?
Yeah.
Like maybe uncover hidden truths or gain some kind of advantage.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Rasmus, he actually uses those pop culture references to make this whole demon X-ray vision thing a little bit more relatable.
Oh, clever.
Right.
Yeah.
But he doesn't stop there.
Uh-oh.
He goes on to connect it to this idea that demons could actually exist in a higher dimension.
Now that's where things get really interesting.
Right.
He's basically suggesting that because demons exist in a higher dimension, they have this kind of, like, perceptual advantage over us. You know, like, we're down here stumbling around in the dark and they're up there with this clear view of everything.
Okay, yeah, I can see that, like, in a sci-fi kind of way.
Yeah.
But let's be real for a second.
Okay.
Where's the evidence for any of this?
Right.
Like, is Rasmus just making all this stuff up?
Well, he does talk about two personal experiences where he claims to have actually witnessed demons using this X-ray vision.
Interesting.
He doesn't really go into too much detail in this particular lecture, you know, saving the juicy bits for his book, of course.
Of course.
But even if we, even if we take his stories at face value, we have to be careful about relying on personal anecdotes as proof.
Totally, because our perceptions can be so easily influenced by so many things.
Exactly.
You know? Our beliefs, our expectations, even just faulty memories.
Right, exactly.
So personal experiences alone? Not enough to convince me?
No, not on their own, no.
Okay, so what else does Rasmus offer up as evidence?
Well, he cites a sorcerer's blog.
Wait, a sorcerer's blog?
A sorcerer's blog.
Okay, now I have to know more, like, what do sorcerers even blog about?
Apparently, X-ray vision demons.
Okay.
Yeah, so this particular blogger claims to have actually witnessed a demon just casually looking inside this sealed box.
Okay, that's a little creepy, but also, like, a sorcerer's blog.
Right.
How much can we really trust that?
That's the question, isn't it?
It just seems like there's so much potential for bias there, you know?
It does, yeah. It's like, imagine getting financial advice from someone who just filed for bankruptcy.
Yeah.
You'd probably be a little hesitant to take their word for it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So while the story itself is, it's definitely intriguing.
Yeah.
I would definitely take it with, like, a giant grain of salt.
A whole salt shaker, maybe?
Maybe even the whole shaker.
So far, not a lot of hard evidence here.
No, not really.
But for a moment, let's just entertain the idea that there could be something to this whole higher dimension concept.
Okay.
Like, I vaguely remember learning about dimensions in school.
Yeah.
But it was always just length, width, and height, right?
Yeah.
A fourth dimension.
Yeah.
Fifth.
Yeah.
That's where my brain starts to melt a little bit.
It is mind-bending.
Yeah.
Think about it this way. Imagine you're a flat, two-dimensional being living on a piece of paper.
Okay, I'm with you.
Your whole world is flat, right? Then all of a sudden, a three-dimensional object, like, say, a sphere, passes through your world.
So all I'd see is, like, a circle appearing out of nowhere, moving across my flat world.
Exactly.
And then disappearing again.
Exactly. You wouldn't be able to grasp the sphere's true form because you're limited by your two-dimensional perception.
Right, okay.
Now, apply that same logic to us.
Yeah.
We're like those flat beings stuck in our three dimensions.
So you're saying that demons could be, like, all around us?
Potentially.
In some higher dimension.
Right.
But we just can't see them because our brains aren't wired to perceive those dimensions.
That's the idea Rasmus is playing with.
Okay, right.
To try to explain how this is even possible, he brings in string theory and M theory, you know?
Yeah.
The theories that propose the existence of multiple dimensions beyond the three that we can experience.
Okay, I think I'm getting the basic concept of higher dimensions now.
Yeah.
But is Rasmus actually using real science here?
That's the question.
Or is he just kind of twisting it to fit his whole demon narrative?
It's a great question, and it's one that we should definitely keep in mind as we go forward, right?
Right.
He's clearly very passionate about this topic.
Yeah.
And he really seems to believe what he's saying.
Yeah.
But it's up to us to decide how much weight we want to give his interpretations, especially when he starts to blend these scientific concepts with his own personal beliefs, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So even if we set aside the whole demon thing for a second, this concept of higher dimensions is pretty mind-blowing.
It is.
I mean, could there be scientific explanations for, like, things that people attribute to the paranormal?
Now, that is a fascinating question.
Right.
And one that scientists are still actively exploring.
Totally.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm officially intrigued.
Good.
But before we get too lost in the theoretical weeds here, let's bring it back to Rasmus for a sec.
Okay.
Because he also connects this whole higher dimension thing to sleep paralysis.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, personally, a topic that always freaks me out a little bit.
Yeah, and he claims that sleep paralysis is often caused by, you guessed it, demonic activity.
Ugh, yeah. That doesn't help with the whole freaking out part.
No, not at all.
And to make matters worse, he even shares this, like, creepy story about two friends who experienced sleep paralysis at the same time.
Oh, no.
One friend felt like he was being choked by some unseen entity, while the other friend, who was sleeping in a sleeping bag on the floor, actually felt the entity's footsteps on his sleeping bag.
Oh, that's a detail that's going to stay with you.
Oh, yeah, chills.
It plays on our primal fear of the unknown, right?
Absolutely.
The unseen predator lurking in the darkness.
Sends shivers down my spine. But before we jump to any demonic conclusions, we should probably talk about, like, the scientific explanations for sleep paralysis.
Of course, of course. So sleep paralysis is actually a well-documented phenomenon.
Right.
It happens when your mind wakes up before your body does.
Okay.
Leaving you feeling trapped and unable to move or speak.
Yeah, right.
It's often accompanied by hallucinations, which can range from, feeling a presence in the room to sensing pressure on your chest or even seeing shadowy figures.
So the experiences that Rasmus is attributing to demons could actually just be explained by our own brain chemistry.
That's a much more likely explanation, yeah. And it's supported by a lot of scientific research.
Right.
But of course, Rasmus is interpreting it through the lens of his own, particular beliefs.
Which brings us back to this recurring owl analogy that he keeps using.
The owls, yes.
He compares demons to owls.
Okay.
Both operating in darkness, with superior vision, catching their prey unaware. It's a creepy comparison, right?
It is a little unsettling.
Like we're the mice, just scurrying around, completely oblivious to the danger lurking above us.
Yeah, not a great feeling.
And what's interesting is that he ties this analogy to the owl's frequent use in occult symbolism.
Oh, right. Owls are often associated with wisdom and knowledge, too, aren't they?
Right, exactly. So it adds another layer to the symbolism.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a duality there. This idea of seeing more, but potentially using that knowledge for good or for evil.
That's a really interesting point.
It speaks to this complex relationship between knowledge, power, and ultimately the choices that we make.
Yeah.
Even if we don't believe in, literal demons, this predator-prey dynamic can play out in metaphorical ways in our lives, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Think about situations where people with more knowledge or information might exploit those who are less informed.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
Like, the corporate world, or even just in relationships.
For sure.
Sometimes the person who knows more can use that to their advantage, even if it's not always intentional.
Right, absolutely.
So even if we're not, literally facing down demons, understanding these power dynamics can be incredibly helpful for navigating the complexities of human relationships.
And systems.
And systems, yeah, exactly.
Okay, this is getting deep.
It is, isn't it?
So we've got X-ray vision, higher dimensions, sleep paralysis, occult symbolism, all connected to these, potentially predatory owl demons.
Quite the mix.
Where does Rasmus go from here?
Well, he introduces a bit of a twist.
Okay.
He argues that just as there are negative entities in higher dimensions, there could also be positive ones.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, thank goodness.
Right.
I was starting to get a little creeped out by this whole us as the prey scenario.
Yeah, I get it.
It's like finding out there can't actually be a cosmic security system in place.
A little bit of hope.
Yes. Tell me more.
So he doesn't go into a ton of detail in this particular lecture.
Okay.
But it definitely opens up a whole new set of possibilities.
It does. And it makes me wonder, if these like higher dimensional beings do exist, how do they interact with our world?
Right.
Are they like watching over us?
Yeah.
Do they intervene in our affairs?
Interesting question.
So many questions.
Yeah, and those are questions that we'll definitely be exploring further as we continue our deep dive. But I think it's time to move on to part 2 of the lecture, where Rasmus delves a little bit deeper into the specific abilities of these demons and how they might be influencing our world.
Okay.
Are you ready to go even deeper down this rabbit hole?
Absolutely. Let's do it. I'm hooked.
All right, let's go.
All right, we're back and ready for more demon talk.
More demons, more problems.
Maybe, maybe not. But you know what really stuck with me from part 1?
What's that?
That whole owl analogy.
Oh, yeah, the owl demon.
It's just so creepy, the idea that these higher dimensional beings could be watching us.
Right.
Maybe even manipulating us.
Yeah.
Without us even knowing.
It's a little unsettling, to say the least.
For sure. So where does Rasmus go from there?
Well,
does he give us any more, like, evidence for this whole demon-owl connection?
He does bring up this interesting point about the owl's symbolism in occult traditions. He says that 3 demons that are described in the Lesser Key of Solomon.
Hold on.
Yeah.
What is the Lesser Key of Solomon?
Well, it's basically a medieval book of magic containing ritual, spells, and descriptions of various supernatural entities.
So, like, a textbook for magic.
Exactly. You could think of it like a user manual for interacting with the spirit world.
Okay, that's pretty cool. But back to those owl-headed demons for a second.
Right.
What are their names?
Let's see. Their names are Andrus, Ammon, and Stolus.
Andrus, Ammon, and Stolus. Okay.
Yeah, and Rasmus sees their owl heads as more than just a coincidence.
Okay.
He argues that occult organizations use the owl symbol because they themselves are influenced by or even take guidance from these demonic entities.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Is he saying that, like, secret societies are secretly being run by owl demons?
Well, he doesn't say it in exactly those words, but that's definitely the implication.
Is there, like, any actual evidence to support this?
It's pretty speculative.
Yeah.
But he does mention the Knights Templar.
Oh, the Knights Templar.
You know, that medieval Christian military order.
Yeah.
Shrouded in mystery and all that.
Right, and all the conspiracy theories.
Exactly.
Holy Grail, Freemasons, all that.
All of it.
What do they have to do with demons, though?
Well, Rasmus suggests that the Knights Templar found these ancient texts beneath Solomon's temple, which supposedly sparked this resurgence of interest in the occult during the Renaissance. And he points to the Lesser Key of Solomon as evidence. Claiming that it contains instructions for summoning demons.
Wait, instructions for summoning demons?
Yep.
That sounds like something straight out of a horror movie.
It does, doesn't it?
Are these texts even real, or are they, like, just fictional creations?
The Lesser Key of Solomon does exist.
Okay.
But its authenticity is definitely debated.
Okay.
Some scholars think it's a collection of older magical traditions, while others argue that it's a later fabrication.
Right, okay.
But either way, it's a fascinating window into how people thought about magic and the supernatural in the past.
So it's kind of like a historical game of telephone. You know, the origins are murky.
Right.
The truth is hard to pin down.
Yep.
But let's say, for the sake of argument, that these texts are authentic.
Okay.
And they do contain instructions for summoning demons.
Right.
What does that mean for Rasmus's owl analogy?
It would definitely lend some credence to his claim that occult organizations might be working with or under the influence of these higher dimensional entities. He even suggests that these demons might be manipulating humans.
Okay, here comes that creepy feeling again.
I know, right?
This whole, like, owl demon manipulation thing.
That's not a good feeling.
Not a good feeling at all.
But remember, Rasmus also talked about benevolent beings in higher dimensions, too.
Oh, right. I need to hold on to that.
A little glimmer of hope.
Yes, please. Because I do not like this whole us as the prey scenario.
I hear ya.
So it's not just us down here, like, at the mercy of these owl-like demons with their X-ray vision.
Totally not.
Might be some higher forces looking out for us, too.
That's the idea.
Okay.
It's like a cosmic balance of power.
Okay.
A constant struggle between good and evil playing out across multiple dimensions.
So they might not, like, intervene in our affairs directly.
Right.
But they could be influencing things behind the scenes.
Potentially, yeah. Kind of like puppet masters pulling the strings of reality.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the nature of reality.
Yeah.
The existence of higher dimensions. The potential for both good and evil forces beyond our perception.
It's a lot to consider.
All stemming from this lecture about demons with X-ray vision.
You never know where curiosity will lead you.
It's wild.
It is.
It's like a reminder to keep an open mind.
Yeah.
Even when we're exploring these ideas that might seem strange.
Right.
Unsettling.
Exactly.
My mind has definitely been stretched wide open during this deep dive.
It's been quite the journey.
What about you?
Always fascinating to see how human beliefs and interpretations shape our understanding of the world. Even when those beliefs, don't necessarily align with conventional scientific explanations, there's often a kernel of truth hidden within them.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So where does Ras go from here?
Well, he's got one final part to his lecture where he ties everything together and leaves us with some thought-provoking conclusions.
Okay, I'm ready for it. Let's hear it.
You ready for the grand finale?
Let's do it. Okay, so we're back for the final part of our demon deep dive.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I'm still kind of creeped out by that whole owl demon puppet master thing from part 2.
I hear you. It's a lot to process.
But I am curious to hear how Rasmus wraps up this whole lecture.
Yeah.
Like, does he give us any more insight into those benevolent beings he mentioned?
Right, the ones that might be protecting us from the not-so-friendly, higher-dimensional entities.
Exactly. I'm holding on to that thought.
Well, he does touch on it again, but unfortunately he doesn't offer any concrete evidence or personal experiences to, really back up their existence. It's more of a philosophical proposition, he's saying, hey, if there are bad guys out there in these higher dimensions, then there have got to be good guys too, right?
Like a balancing act.
Exactly, a cosmic yin and yang, if you will.
Right, okay.
And he even draws a parallel to Buddhist cosmology, which describes multiple realms of existence.
Okay.
Some of those realms are populated by benevolent beings, while others are home to, not so benevolent ones.
Interesting. I've heard of Buddhist cosmology, but I'm not super familiar with it.
Yeah.
Is it, common for different spiritual traditions to believe in this idea of a cosmic balance?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You see it in various forms across so many different cultures and religions. It seems to be a pretty universal human desire, to find order and meaning, even when faced with chaos and uncertainty.
Oh, right.
We want to believe that good will ultimately triumph over evil,
Right.
even if it's playing out on this grand cosmic scale across multiple dimensions.
Makes sense to me. So even if we're not ready to, fully embrace the idea of demons with X-ray vision lurking in higher dimensions.
Right.
There are some interesting takeaways here about how we, as humans, make sense of the unknown.
I think that's a great point. Rasmus might be coming at this from a very specific perspective, but he's tapping into some pretty universal questions.
Right.
About the nature of reality and the possibility of unseen forces at play.
And it all circles back to the concept of higher dimensions.
Exactly.
Remember how Rasmus mentioned that even scientists like Michio Kaku acknowledge the possibility of higher dimensions existing?
Right. He's definitely trying to give his claims some scientific weight.
Yeah.
Even if he's maybe stretching the interpretations a little bit.
Right, to fit his narrative. But it's true, right?
Yeah.
Scientists are actively exploring the possibility of higher dimensions.
They are.
So even if we're not ready to believe in, demons,
yeah,
we can't just dismiss the idea that our reality might be far more complex than we can even currently perceive.
It's a humbling thought. To think that there might be entire realms of existence just beyond our grasp.
It's kind of terrifying too, but also exciting, right?
It is. It's both. It pushes us to expand our thinking, to question our assumptions about the nature of reality and to embrace the mystery of the unknown.
Okay, I'm starting to see the bigger picture here. Maybe Rasmus isn't just trying to convince us that demons exist. Maybe he's just inviting us to consider the possibilities.
Yeah.
To entertain the idea that there might be more to the universe than meets the eye.
You're getting it. He's playing with the boundaries between science, spirituality, and the paranormal.
Right, right.
Asking us to really examine the limitations of our own perception.
Yeah.
And to acknowledge that there might be things out there that we just can't explain, at least not yet.
I like that. And even if we don't, buy into all of his conclusions, this whole journey of exploring these ideas has been pretty thought-provoking.
I agree. It's been quite a ride.
Yeah, we've gone from X-ray vision and sleep paralysis to occult symbolism and Buddhist cosmology.
Yeah, it's been a lot.
That's a serious mental workout.
It is. But that's what a good deep dive should do, right?
Absolutely. So how does Rasmus end his lecture?
Okay.
Does he leave us with, doom and gloom?
Yeah.
Or is there a little glimmer of hope in his final message?
It's actually surprisingly hopeful.
Right.
He reminds us that even in the face of potential threats from these higher dimensional entities, we're not alone.
Okay, good.
He talks about the possibility of protection from these benevolent beings. Even brings up that personal experience where he felt shielded during a sleep paralysis attack.
It's like he's acknowledging that there's darkness out there.
Yeah.
But he's also emphasizing the power of knowledge,
Yes.
awareness, and maybe even a little bit of faith to help us navigate those challenges.
I think that's a really nice way to put it.
Yeah.
He's saying that even if we don't have all the answers, even if there are things out there that scare us, we still have the power to choose how we respond.
And that's a powerful message.
It is.
Regardless of whether you believe in demons or not.
Absolutely.
It's a reminder that knowledge is power, that awareness can protect us, and that even when faced with the unknown, we can choose hope.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Well, folks, that's it for our deep dive into the world of demons and their uncanny abilities.
We made it.
We explored some seriously intriguing ideas, challenged our assumptions, and hopefully sparked some thought-provoking conversations along the way.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride.
And remember, the journey of discovery doesn't end here.
It never does.
So keep those minds open, those owl eyes peeled, and always be willing to explore those uncharted territories of knowledge.
And the unknown.
Thanks for joining us on this adventure.
Yes, thank you.
Until next time, keep exploring and keep asking questions. You never know what incredible insights you might uncover.
See you next time.